Hello guys, my name is Gavin, and this will be a simple video on how to program a player companion. I won't be doing super in-depth in this because obviously, depending on how large your game is, you can make these codes really advanced, but I'll just do a simplistic one for now. Alright, I'm going to get started. So let's right-click on the camera right here and hit X and delete, and right-click on the light and hit X and delete. With this object right here, the cube in the middle, I'm going to rename it to player, like this. I'm going to add character physics, so click on the physics tab and go to Blender Game over here. Change it from static to character and click actor. Drag this in. So let's go from defaults to game logic now. Blender enter the Blender Game. Right click on your cube. Now I'm just going to do a simple 4 directional movements with the logic bricks really quick. So keyboard censored forward. W. Back. This. Hit S. Keyboard left. A button. Keyboard sensor right. And then D. So WASD movement. Over here, let's add 4 motion actuators. Mouse, not a motion. For this first one, let's do 0.2 on the y-axis. F is for forward. B is backwards. And let's put, oh, that's an action actuator. Motion right here. Let's put negative 0.2 on the y-axis to move our character backwards. Alright. Let's go left. That'll be negative 0.2 on the x-axis. This. And for the right, it'll be 0.2 on the y-axis. Okay. Alright, I'm going to connect these like this across. So it should be forward, back, left, and right. I'm going to hit Shift and C to bring our crosshair back to the middle. I'm going to do spacebar and add a plane so that we can have a floor to track on. Drag this down and hit S, and let's say 20. I'm going to right click on my cube right here. Add a blue material to it. Blue like this. We should see that if we hit P to play, we can control our cube like this. Alright. Let's now add another cube into our game. This will be our player AI essentially. Let's do spacebar and then add a cube right here. When I drag this cube back, hit new for the color, and let's have a red color. Okay. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to do an add sensor, and then always with our companion object. Then we're going to do always sensor a Python controller. This. Then we're going to have a motion actuator. I'll name this as move. And I'll put 0.2 on the y-axis. Actually, do 0.15 on the y-axis. Like this. Connect these like this and minimize it. Then add an edit object actuator. Change it from add object to track to. And connect it like this. Rename this to track to. And right here, I'm going to put the player for the object. Alright. Let's now add a template by doing template Python. And game logic simple. Drag this out and delete the portion that I've highlighted. Control and scroll up on your mouse to make your text larger. I'm just going to call this companion.py. Okay. So what we want to do now is get this move and the track to inside of our game. So let's have move is going to equal content actuators move. Track to is going to equal const actuators. Track to like this. Alright. Next, what we want to do is be able to get the distance from the player to our companion object. So I'm going to import the scene. get current scene like this. And underneath here, let's define our player object is going to be equal to scene.objects player like this. Alright. Next, what we're going to do is do player distance is going to equal own.gets distance to, and player like this. So to get the distance from the player to the enemy object, or not to our enemy object, but to our companion. Then what we're going to do is constantly activate our track2 actuator. Activate track2 like this. But what we're going to do is have if player distance is less than or equal to 5. We want to do const.deactivate move. And if it's else, or if it's greater than 5, we're going to do const.activate move. So what this is essentially saying is that if our player is close, if our companion object is far enough away from our player, it'll move towards it because it's always going to be constantly tracking to it. And if it's too close, so it's going to deactivate if it's close. If it's far, it's going to activate the move. That's pretty much what we're doing here, because if you remember, if you've played video games before and there's companions in them, you can tell that they don't stand right next to you. Otherwise, it'd be a little bit weird. But you can see that they'll be like following me around, and it will stop after a certain distance. I might actually set the distance size to be a bit longer. So let's make this as 10. So we should see it'll get fairly close, but about there. Then you can move around the map. It'll stand right there. That's just kind of how this works. Obviously, you can get a bit more in depth if you're using like a nav mesh and stuff, but the same concepts still apply. Alright guys, hope you found this useful.